What up, Cuzzo?
Oh, that's not time for that.
We ain't got it. We ain't got it.
Oh man, it's all good. What's up with you?
Oh, chilling, man. Chilling.
No
Man,
doubt, you
yeah,
back again.
we ain't
Back
got it
in this
today.
thing.
Absolutely. Welcome y'all to another episode of What's Up, Cuzzo podcast with your host, one of your hosts, Jamel is in the building. Burn, 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 burn. And your other host, myself, Marco. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hey, you guys.
Hey, I gotta re-add that, which is crazy. But anyway, this is episode number 26. Man, hopefully everything's goes, pretty seamless. One of those.
Go work.
Seamless, yeah, seamless.
Mhm.
Now, so what happened was last week, our episode, man, got blocked by YouTube, for potential copyright, man. And basically the part of the video was the part of the video that got blocked was the video part we talked about, when Arnold Schwarzenegger, we were acting to The View, and what Arnold Schwarzenegger's take was on illegal migration and things of that nature. But it is what it is, man. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see if they give us some grace. But yeah, we put in a request to have it reviewed. And so we'll see. We'll just have to wait. Yep. So anyway, Cuzzo, how was your week?
Man, the week was cool, man. We had it yesterday off for Juneteenth, as they say. We had our reshoot on what was that, Wednesday. So it was an eventful week, It was kind of weird having a day off and then having to come back to work, but I'm taking where I can get it. And I'm not complaining. I'm just maintaining. That's all. What about you, Cuzzo?
It's pretty good, man. I actually took off Friday. No, not Friday. Took off Wednesday because I was I'm gonna start losing time, right? Vacation time. So I just took a random day off in the middle of the week. And
So that's like no rollover minutes. Like if you don't use it, hey, we're gonna start
hey, it's
picking
gone.
these up. Gotcha.
Gone.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they're not rolling with that. They actually used to do that, but they not no more. And then yesterday I kind of took off yesterday. I worked from home yesterday. So it was pretty chill. I chilled out, made sure I was attentive to my emails, a job. I was working still. You know what I'm saying? I was, yeah.
Man, wish I could work from home. That's different. Maybe I need to switch.
I mean,
So I could too.
you know what I'm saying? Hey, it's cool, but to
Yeah.
be honest, man, I like the routine of coming into work. And some people may not agree with that, but I like, the routine of getting up, having somewhere to go, and being productive and not sitting in the house. I mean, because you know, I could do stuff at home, but then it starts to get boring to me. So yeah, I know. But anyway, let us go ahead and hop in to these topics, man. A lot's been going on, man. Things have happened.
Yeah, man. And as always, we know things will continue to happen on a daily basis. So what do we got?
First we got the Lakers.
The Fakers.
Hey, man, we sound like we got some haters on here. You know what I'm saying? But the Lakers sold a majority share of the franchise for $10 billion. So we're gonna talk about that.
Oh, cha-ching.
We got Tyler Perry, sued for $260 million.
Good Lord, that's a lot of money.
A lot of manyan, as I've been hearing people say lately. And then we got Operation Soteria. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't hear a lot of people talking about this, but we're gonna talk about it though today.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so we're gonna go ahead and jump right into this thing. We're gonna start off with the Lakers. You know what I'm saying?
Kobe.
We have this very big news in the world of sports. A bombshell report says the Buss family agrees to sell the Lakers in a record-breaking $10 billion deal. The buyer getting a majority stake, Dodgers owner Mark Walter. Yeah, but Jeannie Buss not going anywhere just yet. With that big news, welcome to the Fox 11 News.
Shout out to Mark Walter. And shout out to Jeannie Buss. I'm just going to throw that in there. You know what I'm saying?
5 simulcast on our sister station, Fox 11 Plus. I'm Christine Devine.
I'm Alex Michelson. Thanks for everybody who's just watching us on TMZ Live. Kyle Kraska here to break down the report on this historic sale. $10 billion.
Yeah, this one certainly was a shocker today, Alex. Today marking a new chapter for one of the most iconic sports franchises across the globe. After decades under the control of the Buss family, Mark Walter, the owner of the Dodgers, is buying a majority stake in the Lakers. This according to multiple reports. The valuation reportedly set at roughly $10 billion, making it the largest sale ever for any sport.
That's a lot of bread right there, Cuzzo, ain't it?
That's a lot of moolah, baby.
Man, that's crazy. 10. Okay, let's keep going.
Sports team worldwide. The late Jerry Buss originally bought the Lakers back in 1979 for a measly $67.5 million. And his daughter Jeannie took over as governor after he died. Jerry ushered in the Showtime era, and the Lakers won 11 championships with the Buss family at the helm. Walter, who will now take over as CEO of Guggenheim Partners and TGW Holdings. He bought the Dodgers back in 2012, and he spared no expense, turning the Dodgers into a perennial powerhouse, headlined, of course, by the acquisition of superstar Shohei Ohtani.
We'll stop it right there. Let me go ahead and unshare, remove you. So what you think about that, Cuzzo?
I mean, I guess it was time, the Buss family has done an amazing job bringing 11 championships to the organization.
Yeah, how many?
Didn't they say 11 or something?
Bro. Yeah, okay, yeah. 11,
Yeah.
okay.
Right.
Okay, I'm sorry to cut you off. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I mean, they didn't bring all 11, but
Hey, it was for sure all 11, brother.
Well, it's not like I said something wrong. I don't know.
Well,
but,
I thought you was talking about total championships, but just the Buss family. I got it. My bad.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Goodness.
Hey, man.
But as I was saying, before I got, interrupted, it was time for them to, it was time for something different to happen. This whole time they've been really trying to bring back the luster, of the Lakers, ever since Kobe and Shaq left. They thought LeBron was going to be able to help them do that. And they got a championship. They got a, what they call it, a bubble championship. So no one respects that championship. So, and then after that, it just became more evident and relevant that they kind of lost their hold on the team. Jenny running the team, no longer being with Phil as her boyfriend. she really needed some help. So I guess it was like it was time, So, Dodgers have been winning championships lately, so hopefully they can bring in, some of that magic, to the Lakers and, kind of restore that love and respect that the team has garnered for years. The fans are loyal. You know, they've been wanting something different to happen. So we'll see if a change of ownership helps that. It usually does, you know, shakes things up, you know, so we'll continue to monitor this and see, you know, if this finally gets rid of LeBron, which I don't think it will. I think he'll probably stay 1 or 2 more years. But we'll see, you know, we'll see what happens. Now, to the one that actually, you know, likes this team.
The Lakers. You know what I'm saying? Hey.
What do you feel?
I don't know. It's different because you're so used to hearing the Bus name when you hear about the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was definitely surprising, to hear that they sold it, for any amount of money. I mean, even though 10 billion, that's like I was saying when the video was playing, that's a hell of a ROI. For those that know return on investment, he brought up a 60 million and it was sold for, I think it was like 10.1 billion or something like that. But yeah, that's a hell of a return on your investment. But to not, and actually, I guess you'll still hear the Bus name associated with it because they're going to, she's still going to kind of, be around and manage it. But they didn't say this in the video, but this is just, from me hearing around, they had 61% of the company, the Bus family, and they sold it. They sold about, well, majority share. So I think they sold like 51% or something like that, or 50%, somewhere around there. But yeah, it'll just be different. The good thing is, I mean, there's going to be it's going to be in the hands of somebody who knows what winning looks like. Even though people say he paid a lot of bread, to get the Dodgers, to where they are, he did what it takes. The only thing is that the thing with that though, we'll just have to see because the NBA is different. There's salary caps and all of those type of things involved. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I want to kind of go all kind of different ways because there's a lot of layers to this as being a Laker fan. Being a Laker fan, you're trained and conditioned to win now. And that hasn't been happening lately. We've had a lot of, first round exits. We missed some playoffs. And I'll tell you this right now, they may block this video too, but I just said I'm not a LeBron fan, and I never have been a LeBron fan.
What you talking about, Willis?
Well, what I'm talking about is that he is the Galactus of NBA teams.
Sucking the life out of it, huh?
Bro, what happened with Cleveland when he left? Lottery team.
Mm-hmm.
What happened when he left Miami?
Mm-hmm.
Miami were down. They had like high school players on their team. You know what I'm saying? They had a couple players, but the rest of them was like all high school players.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he comes to the Lakers, he makes it seem and appear as if, he knows that it's going to be a rebuild process. But then he's like, you know what? I want change now. And so all the picks are gone. I don't want to say all of them, but a lot of the picks are gone. A lot of the young talent he got traded away. And, we're where we're at now. And now we can't really get anybody to come here. I don't think anybody really wants to play with him. He's lucky Anthony Davis, came to play with him. That sounds kind of crazy. Came to LA, to play on the team with him. But I don't know, man. It's just the teams don't fare the same when he, comes to the team. I mean, they're good. They sell, the stadium sells tickets, or the team sells tickets because they want to see LeBron play. But as far as like being a contender and being, somebody who, what'd you say?
So you want to see him standing around,
Man.
walking around.
Like I said, man, it's just so many things I could talk about as it relates to them, but I don't want to go too deep into another area. But yeah, it's just gonna be different, man. The one thing that I thought about, and somebody said it last night. I was listening to another podcast last night, and they said that who is within that Dodger organization that is familiar with the Lakers? Magic Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
My second favorite Laker. Well, it's one or two. Him and Kobe are right there next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Magic is right there, and
Mm-hmm.
we don't know. That might have been a play, because what I've heard is also too is that Jeannie wanted to somehow give Magic the Lakers, and this may have been like a, like when you shooting dice, you got that side bet. You know what I'm saying? This might have been a side bet, like, hey, we're gonna throw this on the side right here, and I don't know. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see what happens, when it comes to that.
Strategic. I see.
Yeah. We'll see. We don't know. I could be totally wrong. I could be totally off, but that's the first thing I thought about when they said Dodgers. I was like, Magic is on the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, or with the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, this last thing that I'll bring up really quick is it seems like the dynamic and ownership of these sports teams is changing, because it's becoming like a lot of holding companies and outside companies that are not necessarily I don't want to say related to sports, because the Dodgers, but a lot of these holding companies are buying sports teams, and you have to. I don't know if it's a thing that you have to worry about or be concerned about. Like, is it just about the money, or is it about entertaining the people, or and having a good product? And we won't really know yet, because I think Boston got sold for like 4 or 5 billion. A couple NFL teams got sold, right? And then now the Lakers got sold.
Well, you do definitely have to, I think, remotely love sports and entertainment. I think a lot of times people look at it strictly as business, but if you do it that way, yeah, you can be successful some places and spaces or some sports, but ultimately you're not going to be competitive every year. And not to say people who own franchises or sports franchise don't love the sport, but I kind of wonder, maybe it's based on market, but some teams are never good. They're always mediocre. So I don't know. It could be something to that.
But if you look at the valuation, they said, the Lakers valuation was, what they sold for $10 billion, right? And so there's other teams like the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are probably like the number one out there, right?
Yeah.
And so that number right there changes the valuation for a lot of other teams now. Like, it it raises the bar for some teams that may have not sold for 1 or 2 billion. Actually, I think they're probably close to that anyway. But it raises the bar. I'll just say that. And go ahead.
I'm just wondering, like, what's the valuation on team? Like, how do you evaluate market value on certain sports teams? Like, is it based on revenue? Is it based on popularity in terms of that marketability? I'm interested to know that.
That's a great question. I would think it would be based on the market. Like what city are you in? LA is a big city.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And people are going to pay, whatever they have to pay, well, some people are going to pay whatever, however much that ticket price is. And then it also, popularity, the Lakers are one of the, most historic franchises in the NBA, in NBA history. It's them in Boston and the Boston Celtics as far as like championships goes.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know. I'm sure there's some other factors that go in that, but I think those are probably some of the two of the leading factors, just because you want to be in a market where people are able to afford the ticket, right? If you go somewhere like Hernando, Mississippi, cats might not be able to afford to pay for a ticket to go to a Laker game. So that changes the whole dynamic. That changes a lot of things. You probably won't sell as many tickets. You probably won't be able to pay your players as much. Yeah. And so I definitely think those are a couple of leading factors. You got to be in a large market, like a New York, like a LA, like places like that, where you have the people in the city and surrounding city that could actually afford, the ticket. And that's another thing, man. I know that ticket price, it was already, high for nosebleeds, but it's about to go up again, I'm sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Season ticket holders, all that. Like, hey man, we gotta revisit this thing,
Right.
What you was getting before. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Hey, what's that movie? The Wash. Mr. Washington, he was like, I think it was Eminem that came to him. He was like, I want to know when you gonna be up in. No, it wasn't Eminem. It was one of the guys. He was like, when you gonna be up in my pay? And he was like, when you find up in the dictionary, then you come to me.
Right.
But hey, he gonna be reaching out to those ticket owners, like you said, man. And it's funny that you say that, because I saw Gilbert Arenas. He was on his I think he went live on No Chill Gil on that channel, and he was like, "Hey, Jeannie Buzz, before you get out of here, I need to renew my tickets at the price you set them at." before
he already know.
To go up. You know what I'm saying?
He already know.
For sure, man. But we'll just have to see what happens, man. These like I said, these holding companies, I don't know if they really, if all of them, I would say, really have a interest in the sport itself. I wonder, is it investment related? You know what I mean? Because these sports teams can bring about good revenue, especially a place like Los Angeles. So we'll just have to see. We'll just have to keep an eye and ear out for it, and see how it shakes out.
Indeed, I agree.
Yes, sir. And so we're gonna go ahead and jump to the next topic. We got Madea. No, I mean, I'm sorry.
Alex Cross. Oh man.
Alex Cross. Yeah. I don't know what else. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, Diary of a Mad Black Woman. But anyway,
a Diary of a Mad Black Man.
Yeah, that's what it look like. And actually, it's not a black man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We're going to go ahead and jump to the next topic. Tyler Perry, producer, I'm sure the producer, director, he owns his own company. We know him, kind of some of the names that we just named as Madea. He's getting sued by a gentleman for sexual assault. And so we're going to hop in this thing and see what they have to say about it.
With actor Derek, actor and filmmaker Tyler Perry sued for $260 million over sexual harassment allegations. The complaint filed in Los Angeles accuses Perry of creating a, quote, coercive, sexually exploitative dynamic with actor Derek Dixon. Dixon was in two of Tyler Perry's shows, The Oval and Ruthless. In a statement to NBC News, Perry's team says this appears to be nothing more than setting up a scam, calling the allegations fabricated claims. Let's bring in NBC's Stephen Romo, who's following this. Stephen, what more do we know about the allegations here?
Yeah, Tom, just going through those allegations in this lawsuit seeking $260 million in damages, alleging sexual harassment, assault, retaliation as well. The direct details include inappropriate touching. As you mentioned, Dixon starred in the Oval with Tyler Perry, and we got this statement from inside the complaint. Tyler Perry has been using his power and influence to molest, abuse, and sexually assault impressionable and vulnerable employees and actors who look to him for guidance and mentorship while pursuing their dreams. So you can read from that, implies there are more people who are alleging this than just Dixon. We have a bit of a timeline here for the relation.
So we stop right there. What's up, Cuzzo?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could be true or can't be true. We got to see, what the courts do, and that's for any and everybody, And this is not the first time we've heard something like this. We've been hearing about stuff like this in the internet streets for a while. We didn't even had a whole Boondocks cartoon about TP. So it remains to be seen. I thought the dude was one of us, but doesn't look that way. So that's going to be interesting to see, if they settle out of court or if they just go ahead and go through the whole thing, So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, man.
Because it's not a woman, it's a guy.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a totally different dynamic. And I ain't even gonna lie to you, man. Like I've enjoyed watching something like the Tyler Perry movies and stuff like that. On I'm not even gonna lie to you. I enjoy some of the movies, but some say that he showed like this behavior, kind of like you already said it, before. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to stereotype, but some of the stereotypes, they kind of, hit home a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And totally different dynamic because we're used to hearing stuff like this happen between, male and female. But then I don't know about but some would say that you would hear about stuff like this that goes on in the industry anyway. If you want to advance, if you want to get certain roles, some people would say this, you have to do certain things. And I don't know if this was, consensual or not, if it did happen. We don't know if it happened for sure. Or if we don't know. We don't know what happened. We'll just have to, go through the evidence, as they go through the evidence, figure out, what the case is.
Yeah, but my thing is, how do you prove something like this? Like, how do you say, unless it's something on tape, unless you got some recording?
Yeah, text messages.
Text messages, okay.
Yeah, I think he had text messages. We could let's take a look further at it and see.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think he may have had text messages.
Relationship that we know, the professional relationship between these two men and the allegations made in this complaint, saying that they met in 2019. The lawsuit alleges that then their relationship moved forward with this professional advancement. And in 2019, Perry offering Dixon a small role in Ruthless. And then in January 2020, that is when Dixon accuses Perry of sexually assaulting him in his home. And then the following month, Dixon alleges that Perry offered him a series regular role in the Oval. Now, we do have a comment from Tyler Perry's attorneys saying that this individual appears to have been setting Tyler Perry up. They say that they are alleging that this is a scam and saying, quote, Tyler will not be shaken down, and we are confident these fabricated claims of harassment will fail. Now, we've also reached out to the attorney for Dixon, and he said that these allegations in the lawsuit stand for themselves. So just the very beginning of this process, but a lot of people are paying attention to this. Tyler Perry, quite successful, quite a bit of fame here, Tom.
Yep, it will get a lot of attention. Stephen Romo, thank you.
Okay, yeah. So that didn't really help anymore, but
And then I also heard too. I think I was on the socials last night that he is attempting to buy BET, Tyler Perry.
oh, okay.
So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. We've definitely heard of melanated brothers. Anytime they get ready to buy a network, something happens. A la Bill Cosby and NBC. And now this. So I'm pretty sure that it may have something to do with it, it may not have something to do with it. I don't know.
I mean, there are definitely some unanswered questions, because my thing is, if this happened in 2020, now it is here 2025.
5 years later.
I know there's a movie 28 years later, but
yeah,
you're talking about real life. I don't understand why, if you feel you have been assaulted by someone, and it goes for, I'm not gonna, hold back when it comes to men. I feel the same way about when women do the same thing. They wait all this time, and then they decide they want to, file a lawsuit. And then the lawsuit is not a legal suit. You don't want the person to pay. I'm sorry, that's the wrong words. You don't want them to go to jail, for what they did, or be, prosecuted, in a sense of, what's the term I'm looking for? Basically you file a civil case instead of filing a criminal case, and so it makes it look like you just want the money, that it's a shakedown. That's what it looks like. And that's what a lot of people are, saying, like, and and they kind of said it in the lawyer kind of said it. It seems like, or it appears to be, a shakedown, and not that you want the person to be prosecuted for, actually doing some harm to you.
Right.
It just makes it look that way. And women do the same thing, and they're not, they don't get a pass either. Like I just wonder why people take so long to actually do that. I don't know. I mean, you could say there's a lot of things, but it happens so often that it's like, okay, I understand you could potentially be, distraught, you could be scared and things like that. But does 260 million make you, make the fear go away? I guess it do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Feel a little better. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah,
I guess.
Pockets feel a little better,
Pockets an empty cup.
Yeah. I can get through some therapy with these, Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. It just looks weird. I'll just say that.
For sure.
The timing and money is involved. It just looks kind of weird when stuff like that happens. So, you have anything else you wanted to say about it? Because I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this, but
no. I mean, we just gotta see, what the courts say. So that's where I'm at with it. This would be interesting territory. I think this is the first time we've seen a case like this between two guys.
Yeah.
So I'm just interested to see how that goes. These dynamics, does race play a role? All the usual things.
Absolutely.
So,
and you know what? What's crazy is that we don't hear anything about the Shannon Sharp anymore. That's kind of like out of the loop. Like, people don't really worry themselves
the news
about
cycle. Yeah, I paid my money, or I did what I had to do to get me out the spotlight. So let's keep it moving forward, and that's how it is. That's the cycle.
I get that. Yeah.
If not, we're gonna press play on this. I told you. You gonna come through. Hey, this is out there.
Yeah, man. We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens to Tyler in this whole thing with I forgot the gentleman's name that fast. Derek Dixon. He was trying to get his nothing. Derek Dixon.
Anyway. I was thinking something similar. I was like, what a name.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll go ahead and hop to the next subject. This is the kind of the reason why we titled this Spotlight is because, of course, there's some things out there. Tyler's in the spotlight. Then we got the Lakers in the spotlight. But then there's something else that wasn't in the spotlight so much. We keep hearing all these things that are happening, in our world and in our city. And it's a lot of negative stuff going on, but we don't hear like the positive a lot of times. And so there was an operation called Operation, I know I'm gonna, mess this up, but Soteria, that's how I'm pronouncing it. But we'll see what the news has to say about it. And maybe they could correct my pronunciation. But you didn't hear about this. 109 kids were rescued and 244 traffickers arrested in Texas. So let's see. Add that to the stage. Let's see what they're talking about.
Child sex offenders, but authorities are calling it a successful roundup of alleged child sex offenders. But it also shows how widespread that crime is in North Texas. The Dallas FBI office, along with some of the 70 law enforcement agencies that all participated, announced the results of what they called Operation Soteria Shield. Here's our JD Miles.
These are the faces of the 244 men and women charged with exploiting children for the purpose of sex trafficking or pornography. It's the end of a month-long investigation by federal and local law enforcement of a crime that authorities say is a year-round problem.
The numbers of offenders arrested and the children rescued in this operation are stunning. It's stunning to hear them repeated here.
109 children were rescued by Operation Soteria Shield, which began in April.
During this operation, many of the children recognized or rescued were previously unidentified. They had never been reported missing. They had never had their abuse known to authorities.
The operation not only led to arrests and rescues, but also to the seizure of terabytes of child abuse sex material through a collaborative effort that started 10 years ago and now includes 70 Texas law enforcement agencies.
What started as a small team with a bold idea has grown into something very powerful.
In a lot of these cases, authorities say the sex offenders never actually meet their victims face to face, but instead use technology to coerce them into sending explicit images and videos. The head of the Dallas FBI office says the methods used are not just involving social media, but also online gaming systems.
So I think for many of us, I'll speak for my generation, we were raised to be concerned about faceless strangers that might try to contact us or cause us harm on the street. But we've moved past that. Again, predators have access to our children in our home through technology.
Authorities urge families to use parental controls on any devices kids use and be aware.
We'll just stop it right there because they're time to talk about what we wanted to address. So, Cuzzo, I'll let you start first, man.
I think they need to be doing more of this. There should be more task force. I'm pretty sure they have more of the stuff that they can uncover, or the people that's doing it. I think this is a tip of the iceberg right here. So I'm glad that they are putting it in the news cycle, but it's a small, thing to a bigger problem, the way I understand it and look at it. And it's a lot more people other than these random faces you see on here on the news thing that's actually behind it. So it's just kind of like, and when you watch the movies, you kind of see them, get the small drug dealers. It's like, nah, I don't want you. I want the big guy. I want your supplier. That's who I want. So whoever is putting these rings together, we need those people. We need that person. Those international things and ways that it's happening. So I think that is something that we should start to see more, but it remains to be seen. We got to see more of this. And if this is put out in the news more and more and more, then we can start to have, more of these operations happen. I guess you'll get this and not get the tapes or the flight list, you know, to the island. We'll give you this, you know.
Right.
We're not gonna give you that.
Do you think that involving like technology has changed the way they have to actually create or develop these task force?
I don't think it changes the way they have to develop the task force, but I will say that it adds another layer because of technology, meaning there's another skill that you have to learn. Just like shooting, just like stakeouts, just like
That a layer, man. I'm just playing.
yeah, just like well, it's a skill, you know. I don't think it's a layer. It's just like okay, paperwork or you know, meetings.
Maybe I worded it wrong, but because again, you know, he brought up a good point. He was talking about, you know, we tell our kids like, you know, don't talk to strangers, you know, and the person we would have to worry about is the person you actually see. But because of technology, they're able to interact with them in a way that could be away from the parent. And you know, you don't necessarily see that person physically, but it's through some type of digital form like Xbox Live or PlayStation Network or I know I be seeing these kids on this app called Monkey or whatever. I think it's called Monkey. Yeah, but stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could consider it a layer because you know it's something that you can't see. You know, it's another form of thought a child has to, you know, take into. So yeah, I guess we can say it's a layer. It's another conversation that you'll have to have. You know, when we were growing up, it was, you know, strangers don't talk to strangers. And then you had the, oh, don't go to the van with the candy if they're giving it away. Now it's like you get online. Yeah, you have different characters playing Fortnite and you don't know how old they are. You know, so if they're asking you to do certain things, you want to pay attention to that and say, hey, this has nothing to do with the game. So if we're having this conversation, then I need to move away from this player and not play with this player again. You know, it should strictly be online. You know, it shouldn't come offline and turn into anything else. So, yeah, I guess we can consider that a layer for sure.
Real quick, so you made me think of something. There was this one instance where this damn guy showed up to this lady's house because for her daughter. Her daughter was underage. I can't remember how old the daughter was, but they were playing like Fortnite or something together. And this dude showed up at the lady house, and she was like, "Would you get your ass out of here?" And he was like, I came to see your daughter or whatever. And I'm like stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that we gotta do because you don't know people's mental state. And then, you know, if you're dealing with kids, you know, kids give certain things, certain information away that they necessarily shouldn't give. You know what I mean? Like they talk.
Yeah.
So that could definitely, you know, cause an issue and a challenge, you know, when trying to get these guys, because one, you have to be aware as a parent to know that this is going on. You know, and then how do you monitor, you know, that type of stuff? You know, like if they're playing the game, you know, I don't know, they done said some stuff on the game, you know, when I've been playing, but nobody came at me sexual because I don't know necessarily why, but I'm not saying that I want them to, but it's more of like, you know, if I score a touchdown on them, they call me, you know, an N-word or something. You know, if they hey, it doesn't happen, man. Hey, get off of here. It doesn't happen. And then it says some egregious things online, bro, playing.
Right. I'm sure.
You know, but now you got to deal with, you know, a potential predator on the other side of those controllers or, you know, headset.
Yeah, for sure. I think if you take the time and kind of live in your child's world for a little bit, you can kind of see, you know, how they interact and what they're interacting with. And then you can kind of coach them as they go along and grow older on some things that they need to be looking out that's inappropriate or has nothing to do with playing the game. So these are the things that we want to steer away from, or these types of players using this language, asking you to do things outside the game, saying, don't tell your mom or you tell your dad, you know. And those are the things that they most of the time don't think about because they're just having a good time. They're trying to make friends. They want to look cool or be cool. They want to be adults on some levels because they're playing a game in their own world. So, you just have to kind of monitor those things. Like I said, play the game with your child, see what they like to play for a little bit, and have a conversation. And after that, get off and set that foundation, and hopefully they carry that forward to where they can remain safe, while they're having a good time, playing a game.
Right. Man, I was trying to find that video, but it was crazy. But yeah, I agree, man. And like you said, engaging with them, but also having those type of conversations where it's like, okay, if you hear this and that, let me know. You know what I mean? And then I could act accordingly. I could,
right.
Yeah.
We can report that player. We can block that player. But we know these days, they can just create a new account,
100%.
come right back and do the same thing. So also adding a layer for help finding those people,
right,
using the platform inappropriately. That's another layer that eventually they should tap into to kind of keep people off these platforms and not have them be so predatory. While kids are playing Roblox and Fortnite and whatever the popular games are. So,
right.
But again, I mean, going back to the story, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so many more stories that we hear or don't hear or have seen or heard, and it's just kind of like, how is it happening? Where is it coming from? It has to stem from someplace. So trafficking, we understand and know that it is a global business. I hope people are not naive to know that, it's not just kids and games, but it's, taking kids and moving them across country, using them as, the craziest things you want to think about.
Right.
You don't want to think about, So that's another thing. So if people are really serious about understanding that part, then they won't be so naive to understanding like this may or could happen, involving someone that you may know. So
what do you why do you think we didn't hear about? Well, we obviously heard about it because we're talking about it. Why do you think this is not something that's being broadcasted more? Like that more people are hearing about it? Because I've asked a few people, did they hear about it? And they're like, no, I didn't hear about that. Did you hear about the riots in LA? Yeah, I know what's going on with that. So what?
Right.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
I mean, it's the news cycle. So we understand what, wants to be displayed the most. What's the attention? What's the focus? So we want people talking and thinking about this. So we're going to show this more versus showing this story and showing this more. So it's whatever you want the population at large to be thinking about collectively. That energy is real. So if you don't want that to be focused on a certain part of a business that people don't think it's a business, but it is, then you're not going to display this type of information. So collectively, that thought process of people not wanting that to happen and don't like that, yeah, it can come down on you and make things go a lot different,
I just think, one of the things is not a popular topic, right? It's not something that, and I don't know I don't want to get too crazy. We talked about the Matrix and the, last weekend about how certain things appear a certain way on the front side, but on the back end, other stuff is going on. And I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but it may be something that the masses don't want people to know about. Yeah. And it's just not something that they want to program, that this type of stuff is going on. And it's not something that we want to report on a lot. We want to report on the stuff that gets people riled up, gets people wanting to fight, wanting people to I don't know. I just think that type of stuff, like the riots and stuff like that, that's the popular thing right now. I just want to say the other thing. there was this this guy, he posted a video of multiple news outlets repeating the exact same thing the exact same way.
Talking points.
Exact same talking points.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is what they want us to hear and see at a certain time. So they're all gonna, and it wasn't just like around the same verbs. They was using it like they had a script. Like it was the exact same thing. Like they were, on set, auditioning for this part. They said the exact same thing. And I'm just like, that's crazy. Like,
that's how you control people. You use the same language over and over and over. You're either going to have this side speaking this way or that side speaking this way.
Right.
Everything in between, people will look at you like you're crazy. So that's very true. And that's why I say we see all these people on the left, on the right, speak from a narrative that's not even beneficial to you as an individual, as a person, as a human being, whatever you want to call yourself. So why is that your speech or your language? Because it's given to you through talking points. This is what you hear through social media. This is what you are programmed to say back because you went to school, you went to college, and all these things are being reinforced.
Right.
Yeah. It's manipulation, and it's psychology. All these things that you go to school for, and you don't even know that you are part of that. You're in it. You're studying all this stuff, but you're a part of it. You're in it. We all are.
Right.
You and me right now, we're in it. You want to call it the Matrix? You want to call it society? You want to be, conspiratory? You want to be logical? You want to be left, far left? You want to be right?
Bring up a valid point.
So if you understand it and you see the talking points and you understand the constructs, you understand the archetypes, these are all modeled, for some reason, so they can understand who they're dealing with, who you are, how to control you, how to control us.
Hey, that Instagram joint, we talk about something, the algorithm, you talk about something, you open your Instagram and it's right there. Like, hey, you was talking about this. You know what? Do you want to revisit this? Do you want to buy this? Or, do you want to purchase it? Do you want to travel here? Do you want to? Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Dang. I don't know if I want to be like Cypher or not, man. I don't know.
Right.
I like that steak, man.
Hey, you like the steak. You don't want the flesh. Well, yeah. I mean, most of the time, people are going to fight to keep this reality that's slowly eroding right in front of you.
Right.
And people are attempting to add some type of moral, religious, foundation back into the thread, and it's already eroded away a long time ago. So what you get now, what you have now, are people that was a part of the previous, way of life, or generations of life. We have our parents, our grandparents, our mothers, and it's just kind of like you're saying the same thing you said before, but nothing has changed from before. Yeah, things get a little better. They give you a little bit more freedom to earn money, but you still are locked in and focused on having to do something in order to live. You can't just not stop doing it and just live. Like,
right.
You got to continue to work. You got to continue to pay somebody something, So,
yeah, I'll bring up this last thing, and it's actually more of, have you seen? But we're talking about the kids and stuff like that. I don't know if you've seen those videos where they chase after, they basically bait these dudes into showing up somewhere, like they're talking to like a 14, 13-year-old, and then they chase them down. Like, what do you think about those, man? You think that Because some of
Um,
the videos is like random, like just
yeah,
random people doing it. You know what I mean?
right, yeah. I mean, it's refreshing, but it's also sad at the same time. You know, because these dudes just really are embarrassed, and they are like surprised, so they just really want to get away and try to get away. But at the same time, you're glad that they're being exposed because there's a real problem with these people. There's a mental issue with these people, you know. And these people at the lower levels, you kind of think like, okay, if this is being done on the lower levels, then what do you think is being done on the higher levels?
Facts.
You think this is just something that's happening there? Because I guarantee you, if it was something that just happened on the lower levels, it would be prosecuted a little bit more thoroughly,
Right.
you know, than it is. It's just allowed until they really have to do something, you know, because people force the issue, you know. So I'm glad we have these people out here exposing these people because they need to know and see what's happening. Even though you go to jail and you get out, if you're still doing the same thing, then it's like, man, round these people up and then take them into the Hunger Games. And then y'all got to figure out how to get through here. You know, if you want to be reformed and get back to the civilization, you know, there's some things that you got to go through.
Or have them go through that. What's that movie called? The Hunter or Hunted or something like that, where it's like these rich people and then they chasing after people, you know,
right.
trying to, you know, take them out.
Right. That Jigsaw, you know, you could all of them. Escape room, put them in some escape room scenarios. It's like, man, it's so many different ways, but it's like you go to jail.
Predator edition.
Yeah, Scary Straight Predator edition. Now you got the predator chasing the predator. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Hey,
that
might be a movie. That might be a movie. You know what I'm saying? All right, man. So we'll go ahead and hop to the next topic. Last topic, man. We don't have a video necessary for this, but I know we're a few weeks removed from Father's Day. But there was a poll, or there was actually, I'll let you bring it up, Cuzzo, because you may have more information. I think you shared it with me about the Father's Day.
Oh yeah,
yeah. You could just talk about it. We don't have to pull up no video or anything if we don't.
No, I was just trying to figure out what it was, but basically it was just a poll, and basically they came up with a figure that Mother's Day people spent, I think it was $10 billion more dollars than they was spent on Father's Day, you know. And then I was just thinking like, man, I just actually had a decent Father's Day, you know. You know, my children, you know, they took care of me, bought me a few things, and went over, you know, one of my buddy's house. They had some stuff over there. So it was kind of cool, you know, but it's like at the end of the day, it just depends on, man, where you at, who's in your environment, who you with, that has the mindset or the spirit of wanting to kind of cater to a man that's, you know, taking care of his kids, providing for his family, and doing all those things without any complaints, as you should. But just to have that kind of catering and rewarding spirit, you know, sometimes, you know, women don't have that high characteristic to be able to do that because they're looking always for what they can get, you know, versus what they can give. And it's not to say they don't do for their man, that they don't do for their husband, but I just kind of think it's not to the level that they're giving to. Should I say that? You know, and you don't need all the flowers and the candy and all that stuff, but you do need, you know, someone to take a special interest in you on that day. What is your favorite this, or what is your favorite that? What would you like today? You know, where do you want to go? You just want to chill? Okay, how do you want to chill? You want some beer? You know, whatever. How do you want to relax today? You want us to get out the house so you can just have some quiet time?
Everybody go.
Everybody get out. I mean, so it's any of those things. Just trying to figure out, you know, how to best, like I said, cater to the man. And I think if you do that, all the buying stuff, that can take a back seat. The more creative, the better to me. You always take the cards, that are made from the children. Anytime someone takes a special interest or thinks about you, it always is a plus in my book, because that means they took the time to figure out and to be creative on what they can do to show appreciation to you for what you are and who you are, as a dad, and wanted to just make sure you felt that on that day. So that makes it all better,
I think the who's who of maybe I'm wording that wrong, but products, but the people out there who have things that they want to sell to people, they know who to target, right? They want to appease and pander is probably a strong word to use, but they want to they know who to focus on, the woman, right? So what you got, Valentine's Day, like, yeah, the man may get something, you know what I'm saying, but it's usually, catered around the woman, right? Like Valentine's Day is for the woman.
Of course.
Treat, give her flowers, candy, etc. Take her out, for a nice meal, and then maybe, take her back for dessert, you know what I'm saying? What's crazy is that hey, guys are simple, man. Like, most guys don't really want all, like you said, want all that, like all that spending of money and stuff like that. You don't necessarily have to do that. Like, of course, if you buy me something nice, I'm gonna appreciate it. Like, I got a Nike jacket. You know what I'm saying? Like, she knew I like Nike. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciated that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But like, I wasn't really tripping about those items, So it was, like a extra added addition to, But those people, they know who to market to. They know, like I said, Valentine's Day, and then you got Mother's Day. Like, even what are the holidays? Because I'm trying to think that are. I mean, a lot of them are
Valentine's Day. Yeah, Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day, Mother's Day. I don't know. There's some other days that are centered around the woman. Even like, Christmas and stuff like that. Like, it's more so catered to the children and to the women. But it is what it is, man. I didn't expect anything different. When I saw that $10 billion difference, I was like, man, I ain't expecting anything different. When I remember, I had a conversation with my lady right now, and it was like, oh, this is all men get. I said, men get, socks and shirts and stuff like that. And she's like, I don't get my people, socks. I said, you're an outlier. Like, you're unique in that case. If that's the case, if your sister doesn't do that, then she's unique. But a lot of guys have experience getting those type of items, for Father's Day or for Christmas or nothing at all, and nothing is done. Like a lot of these food places, restaurants. I'm sorry, food places. A lot of these restaurants are packed on Mother's Day. You could barely go in there and sit down. It's an hour, 2 hour, 3 hour wait. On Father's Day, hey, you could go down there with a party of 20 and sit down with no problem. It's just unique. And I'm not saying this to complain about it, but I mean, it's just the reality, and men go out there and bust their butt. We just, want some appreciation. Doesn't take all of that. You know what? I may not want to go out, but guess what? I want to, chill at the house. I might want my favorite dish, and it's nothing crazy either. You don't have to go too crazy. Maybe that steak, the Cypher had. I want that steak, but hey, that's all I need, and I'm chilling. But like I said, it wasn't surprising to me to see the discrepancy. But $10 million is a lot of damn money. That's a lot of money.
No, I said 10 billion.
Yeah, 10 billion. What did it sound like? I said million? Yeah, I meant if I did say million, I definitely meant 10 billion. That is a large number. And yeah. Didn't surprise me at all. And shout out to the women, in their day or days. We love you, appreciate you, but hey man, can we at least, knock that down to 9 billion?
Man, a few billion would be cool, man. I was trying to let you say your piece, but I'm gonna hop in there. Listen, I like nice things. I like when people look out and do stuff for me, because I'm a guy that do stuff for people, because that's just the way I am. When I see stuff, I think about people. I'm gonna get it, because that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be looking out for each other and doing our best to make each other feel like we're thought about. So those little things in between, it makes a difference. That's just the way I think. So when I see somebody taking on that the way I take it on, man, it makes life go up a couple of levels, because now we're thinking creatively, within our village. So it's just like, okay, socks and shirts, underwear, socks, ties. Now we up to the jacket, then we go up to the mug, and we go up to, massagers, we go up to sweatsuits and shoes, and then eventually we can get up to that sports car, so it's like, right. Or trips or whatever that. So I'm saying, man, next year or next couple of years, man, I'm gonna definitely put some stuff together for men. And the way I say it is, men don't usually like to get out and do stuff like that, eating out and stuff. Cool, we'll do it, but we're not gonna plan nothing just for us, because we usually go to like a bar or go chill or something like that. But I'm gonna say right here and now, man, I'm gonna definitely put something together to where we can, feel like we are treated like, kings, as we are, because we do a lot. We deserve, we deserve a lot, and I appreciate people who think, in those terms and in those ways. So step your game up, girls. Step it up. And if you have been stepping it up, I see you. So I ain't talking to you. Okay. So don't you start feeling some type of way, getting defensive, because I ain't talking to you. Like my Cuzzo said, you the outlier. So I ain't talking to you. 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 Okay. But them, yeah, they know. They know.
Talking to y'all.
Yeah, they know. They starting to look away now. Yeah, they didn't already clicked off. We had a couple people watching. Now they want to.
Hey, see, hey, who was that? I think it was like entertainer. Don't nobody like their damn daddy.
Right. Exactly.
Man.
Exactly.
But yeah, man, I think this was a great episode, man. Like always, I enjoyed, and it has come to an end.
Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah, next week. Yeah, all of that next week, man. But man, we appreciate those of you who hopped on. I'll go ahead and give my closing remarks, and I'll let Cuzzo come right after me. I'm sorry, pause. I'll let Cuzzo
come on, ride the train. And ride the train. Come on, ride the toot.
I'll let Cuzzo give his closing remarks when I'm finished. But man, anyway, thank you for those who hopped on the live today. Hopefully we said something that was interesting and intriguing to you. Please give us your opinions, good or bad. But we ask for you if you would indulge us, like we're trying to grow this channel. We are still new, even though this is episode 26, we're still new. But we're learning, and I think we're getting better. I'm sure Cuzzo would agree that we're getting better each and every time we jump on a live. But we started this in my opinion, and he could share his because we're two regular dudes, but we have our own opinions and have our own insights on things, and we just want to share how we feel about certain topics, but also too, the end goal is to bring us together. You know, that's the end goal. So that is all I have to say. Other than in all things get understanding. If you don't know something, don't just assume it. And actually, I'm lying. Let me put the RAM button up. but no, honestly, we hear a lot of things from people, and I would say make sure that we check and make sure those things are on point. You know, having conversations with my, you know, with friends and with family, associates and stuff. Oh, I heard so and so did this, but okay, what did he do about that? Or where did you hear that from? Oh, I don't know. I just heard. No, that ain't how it works. That's how misinformation starts. So get an understanding of what you're talking about, and make sure you know what you're saying is on point. That is all I have to say about that.
Well said. Well said. And I'll just jump in and say, man, I appreciate my Cuzzo for always jumping in and doing the engineering thing. You know, it's always a step up when we're able to, learn something new and get these things done to bring this illustrious show that we're getting better with week in and week out. We're starting to enjoy it more and more and more because we're getting comfortable, in front of the camera. So I'm excited for the opportunity for us to get to know more people, through this platform. Because at the end of the day, we started this because, like my Cuzzo said, we're just two regular dudes with, extraordinary and logical things to say about life. So we wanted to bring that to, a stream near you. So this is why we're doing what we do. And we enjoy it. We want other people to come along on this journey with us as we continue to have conversations about many different things across what we see on these internets and these newses, and somehow form, opinions to where we can agree or disagree on. But at the end of the day, we still want to come together and, have some type of cohesiveness, because at the end of the day, we all we got. So let's keep this thing rolling, and hope everyone enjoy their weekends. And if ICE is still out there, stay out the streets.
You know, it's crazy. I know I said that was all I have to say. I was actually coming from like downtown LA area, and I saw them out at some little by the hospital or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's crazy. They were blocking people were blocking the street, taking pictures of their vehicles and things like that. I was like, oh, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But I just kind of liken this to, certain things. It's not exactly the same thing. People don't try to come for me in the comments, because if you do, I will take your head off. Having this happen is like when the slaves got free, because you're losing all this labor. There's going to be some people for it and some people against it. Who's going to build our houses? Who's going to pick our fruit? Who's going to work these jobs no one wants to work? That's how people are looking at this thing, versus they came in here illegally. They've been breaking the law for years and years and years. And that's why the economy has been run down how it has, because we've allowed this to happen on this end. And then we come to this part, we allow things to be done here. And then we go over here and then allow things to happen a certain way over there. So not to say one's has to do with the other, but I'm just saying how you do anything is how you do everything. Remember,
100%.
We've always learned that, in business. So if you're doing one thing one way, you're going to do everything else, half-ass, as they say. So
Absolutely.
do your thing, people. Get your stuff together, and man, let's make this place the best it can be.
Absolutely. Episode 27. I'm sorry. It's coming up next week. make sure you tune in to us next week. Same time, same Cuzzo channel. We appreciate you guys. Have a great one. Peace.